Rafael Oliveira, Digital Business and International Market Manager at SERPRO, Federal Data Processing Service, being one of the main people responsible for the company's international expansion. With a degree in business administration, Rafael began his career at SERPRO as an information and analytics product manager, leading the development of 22 digital products and services for the government and private sector. He later headed the state-owned company's business incubator and accelerator for 2 years, where he contributed to the launch of 12 new products. Its trajectory is marked by a strategic and innovative approach, with a focus on digital transformation, technological partnerships, and strengthening SERPRO's international presence.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a podcast here of Finance of Tomorrow. We are here all the way in Rio, in Web Summit Live, and I'm joined by Rafael Oliveira. Rafael, welcome.
Thank you so much. Thank you everyone who's joining us.
Exactly. Rafael, I usually like starting at our podcast, getting to know the person. Rafael, how did you end up here in this hot seat at Finance of Tomorrow?
Hello everyone, my name is Rafael Oliveira. I'm the head of internationalization at SERPRO. We are the biggest IT provider for the Brazilian government. I started almost 10 years ago. I will have 10 years at SERPRO in July 1st.
And you're still smiling, so there is happiness in working in the government.
I'm one of those that, I don't like to work. I really love my job. I really love my job. It's 10 years at SERPRO. On those 10 years, I worked with acceleration, business acceleration.
Okay.
We created a lot of products that we'll talk about a little bit later, what we did. Started also with product management, one of the greatest challenges that I ever had at SERPRO. And now we're internationalization. We're bringing the Brazilian government, our products, our services to other countries. And 2024 and 2025 are really exciting times because we are really gearing up and starting what we're planned on the last 4 or 5 years.
Wow. So SERPRO, what does SERPRO do for people that don't know, have never heard about it, and situate them a little bit?
It's not a lot of everyone knows SERPRO, but SERPRO is a public company. Mm-hmm. We are owned by the Brazilian government, and we provide 90% of all IT assets, systems, providers, infrastructure, network security for the Brazilian government. If you have a driver's license and you use our digital platform, you are on SERPRO. If you have a passport, and if you pay taxes,
which we hope you do.
Everyone pay your taxes. And
we're getting digital. So.
Everything is done by SERPRO. We run more than 4,000 services today for the Brazilian government.
Wow.
And one of the biggest ones is gov.br, our digital Brazilian digital platform. 140 million Brazilians are on that platform, accessing a lot of kinds of services from health, education, taxes, and others that with a single sign-on with security, everything that the Brazilian citizen needs to do with their government.
And that has been a major transformational change. I remember when Luis was still there at SERPRO and doing gov.br and doing the entire change. Like that has happened over the past couple of years.
It's a little bit of time. I've said that our transformation really started 7 to 8 years ago, when the company faced a really big challenge because no one wants to pay taxes again. And the federal budget is really shrinking day by day.
Yeah.
Everyone wants to spend that public money as efficiently as possible. And we have an idea. How can we provide services to the government, also to our citizens, without any money? And everyone went, well, okay, you are crazy about that. No, it's not crazy. A lot of companies need to communicate with the government. We need to provide data. We need to provide access to banks, to security services, to insurance. So how we can provide that services, get a little bit of that money, and bring it back to the government? Now SERPRO provides more than 80 products to the private sector, to the international sector, and all that money generated goes right back to public policies.
That's a huge change. You're transforming the government's IT services effectively into a revenue generating activity.
Yes, that's what we do now. And one of our biggest clients on the transit sector, for example, the National Secretary of Transit, now has a contract that values over $70 to $80 million with SERPRO. They do not pay anything.
Wow.
Zero public money. It's used to provide IT. In the transit sector, if you really think, it's all of our digital driver's licenses It's all the car registrations, it's all the parking fees, it's everything. We do not use public money to do that.
And that's how it should be, right? So this is the power of technology. So in this 8 to 7 year transformation, 80 products, did I get that right?
80 products. We started with a little bit of a pitch accelerator inside our company.
Okay.
And we looked into the silver bullets.
And this has been a bit of your journey also to contextualize with Web Summit, right?
Yes, absolutely.
You've been doing this innovation. So talk to us a little bit more about it, because this is your 4th time
This is my
here.
third time in Rio.
Third time in Rio, so
fourth
pretty
time.
much every time that has happened.
Yes.
And then 4th time in general, you've been to Lisbon as well.
Yes. It's
Doing some amazing things. So how does a government entity build 80 products doing innovation? So what did you do?
It's a really big challenge because you have to change the mindset of everyone in government.
Yep.
And that mindset that really the public has about the government, it's a little bit of truth, but a lot it's not.
Yep.
There are great people, there are great innovation really happening in the digital government spaces. So how can we bring those people together? We really bring those people together in the sense that the room that everything started was right next to the president's room.
Wow.
Empowerment.
Wow.
You have the priorities, you have the team, let's do some innovations. We grabbed out some silver bullets, some products that were really screaming for being created, for being delivered to the public. We launched them in a year.
Okay.
We proved the model, and we have been evolving that model since. Right now we have 2 innovation teams at SERPRO.
Wow.
We have 1 partnership team. We have really a huge product management team. All come from that source, all come from that room with the first 5 that we say that were on that business accelerator.
And today you build, how do you do innovation? Do you do innovation bringing people from the outside, products from the outside? Do you co-create? Is the innovation a place for like hacking these government services? Like, how does it work? Because we've seen this innovation model, be a lot of proof of concepts, not great.
Not delivery.
I joke and say, is a land of broken dreams. Some of these innovation offices, you see all those like, kind of like boys with their toys, right?
Yeah.
Like, hey, look, this shiny thing, but the application of it is often not there. And when you look at product penetration, how have you been doing innovation? Because innovating 80 products or just government services in general, it's not an easy thing.
We have one huge advantage.
Okay.
We have 220 million customers. Our citizens
Yeah,
ask
that helps, right?
Our citizens ask a lot, and
So you have 220
20
million customers, and you said 140 of them are registered today.
Yeah.
On Gov, we are.
Yes, it's the biggest government-owned a single platform. And other countries have bigger.
It's one of the biggest in the world, though.
It's the biggest It's the biggest government website in the world, by far from the second.
Because funny thing, Rafael, I live in Denmark, and Denmark is like one of the most notorious countries. And I know you guys at GovBeer actually went there years ago to look at how, because 97% of all the services in the entire country are actually fully digitized, which is their way of making sure we pay taxes. But they have a bit of a different problem. They have 5 million people versus 220. So when we talk about this is a huge identity thing, right?
Yes.
In SERPRO. So talk to me about what are some of the services and the products that you today offer to the government, but also to the private market, which is really interesting.
To the private market, what we are really looking for is how we can provide, especially information, so we can improve the business sector of Brazil and those companies. We have to make Brazil cheaper to operate. We have to make Brazil cheaper to make business. So, for example, our biggest star in SERPRO is called Data Valid.
Okay, let's talk about Data Valid. Everybody out there knows that I'm an identity geek. I've spent 15 years of my career in this, so let's dig into my favorite topic.
Data Valid is our biometrics platform.
Yeah.
All of the biggest banks in Brazil uses, all the fintechs uses, security, insurance, everyone who needs to mitigate risk.
Yeah.
And they have direct access to the government platform that is built upon our driver's licenses. So that data is secured. We can provide a really direct access for those companies that really need to access those risks. For example, you want to open a bank account, or you want to take a new credit or a new credit card with a big budget to spend on it. How you can ensure Rafael is Rafael? We
Exactly.
can provide some of those services without breaking that data protection that we need to provide to our citizens. We never provide your picture, your data directly to those banks. We validated that in-house. We give back a score, a biometric score, and that's it. That photo is 98% Rafael. Do your risk assessment.
This is a huge area of opportunity and challenge, right? When we look at a lot of the biometric systems out there have created huge data honeypots.
Yeah.
And places where, exactly as you said, we're storing people's faces and names. And a lot of these databases don't do what's called one-to-many. They do one-to-one matching. So how has SERPRO innovated in the identity of the Brazilian citizen?
The thing that we have to innovate is by usage. We know that one-to-any it's like the
Holy Grail.
The Holy Grail. But right now, what we are looking for is how to use your digital identity. A lot of countries that we have made partnerships or benchmarks, they look, I have a digital identity. So you get your digital identity, get your phone and show someone.
Correct.
You change the paper to the phone. You have digitalized it. You're not digital transformation. What we're looking for with gov.br, how you use your digital ID. In Brazil now can use your taxes in 5
Pay
minutes.
your taxes.
In 5
This
minutes.
is going to be the name of the episode. Pay your taxes, get to know SERPRO.
You can do it. You can you can share your identity. Because what we're seeing in the world is some digital, the digitalization is not complete, it's not full. Because you create an app, you show something, it's so cute. Oh, I have an app with my identity. So how do you use it?
Yeah, exactly.
I have to share my phone with someone.
Yeah.
One huge example of that usage, it's something that we call safer boarding.
Okay.
It's on the Viracopos airport and also
For people that don't know, Viracopos.
and it's also at Santos Dumont here at Rio.
Okay.
You can board a plane without anything and showing anyone nothing, because your identity is being used through biometrics. You go to the safe area and you go through boarding the airport. Why it's so?
It's called utility, right? This is now the thing I've been saying for years is identity is feeling like you're the Queen of England. I don't have to introduce myself.
Absolutely.
It's the ability of knowing something with context without having to prove it.
You said the perfect word, context. Let me get back to that example.
Because I know you have some products in context, so let's talk about that.
Because everyone knows you're going to board that exact plane, that exact flight.
Correct.
So if you have that context, you can connect to the government and say, look, is Rafael boarding to Brasilia tomorrow? Yes. Expect him, use his biometrics. I do not need to do one-to-one with 220 million Brazilians. I need to do one-to-one with 182 citizens.
Yeah.
It's that easy. But
Correct.
if you have connection.
It's the ability of and we're seeing this in AI sounding more sexy in terms of large data models versus small. When you have the logic of being able to say, how do you match?
Yeah.
You have a different opportunity. So this utility, what does SERPRO expect to do? We know this, there's McKinsey reports. I've been saying this for 15 years, that identity is not some nice authentication thing, but is actually a GDP changing thing.
Yeah.
Because it's about context. It's about data. Whether it's about knowing if you've paid your taxes or, knowing that I really, really like coconut water for my services. A lot of the identity industry has been built backwards. We talk about zero trust architectures, but we talk about personalized services and really caring for our clients.
Yeah.
It doesn't make any sense. So does the government see itself playing a role of the equalizer?
Absolutely.
And saying, how do I build this layer where the basics are done right?
Let me get you an example. We have challenges in education in Brazil, for example.
Ginormous.
Digital and identity together can be a public policy instrument. You can provide services for those that would need to travel 1-2 hours or really expend a lot of money to get access to those services. But at the same time, We have, as I said, we have challenges with education. It's really hard to educate people on using government digital services. Do you know why? In Denmark,
Tell me why.
in Denmark told us that.
Yeah.
How many times you talk to the government? Each and every year. One time?
Maybe one time,
2 times?
maybe 2. Yeah.
Renew your passport,
Yeah.
doing your taxes.
Hopefully.
You do not talk to the government a lot of times. So every time you use a government service, it's going to be hard, it's going to be difficult. You can do the best UX in the world. It's going to be a new app that you use only once. So if you provide easy to access services, going back to the identity, if you use biometrics, someone with digital illiteracy or even read illiteracy can use those services. And then you bring AI, and then you bring voice services, and then you
Correct.
bring specialized LLMs. Because if you get utility, first you will need to use it for specific things and deliver value. One thing that really believes is on specialized LLMs. For example, I need to look for a spot for a doctor. That's the only thing that it needs to do and answer. That's really delivers value. I know your identity. You are logged in gov.br. I know where you live, and if you bring me a little bit more information, you can come out of our app with that appointment made.
I often say this because, like, digital identity, we look at it not in this way. We don't look at it as like, hey, I got to know you now. Like, the next time I'm going to see you, I'm going to recognize you because we have like a facial recognition, and I'm going to have some connections. So I'm going to be able to talk to you about the things that matter to you. The financial services industry has done such a crap job at listening. Like, if we look at how passwords and these things are constructed, it's like meeting somebody and every time asking them the same question. Wouldn't that be the royal waste of time?
I think that on the next 6 to 8 to 12 months, we're going to see a little bit of a revolution here in Brazil on that
revolution.
matter.
Let's talk about the revolution. What is the revolution and what can we expect?
The identity go into the private sector.
Okay.
That's something that we really expect. The government's talking with the private sector. Banks,
Absolutely. I'm talking to the government.
the banks are talking to everyone, because when you bring that context, when you bring that identity, Denmark was one of the great examples that we got from the benchmark.
CPR. And they also have like CPR versus CPF. It's also a little close.
They said gov.dk
Yeah.
started really being used when you got the private sector in.
Yeah.
Because you use gov.dk to log into your bank.
Because they were able to explain to the private sector industry the cost of compliance.
That's huge.
Right.
And the government
And the
already did it.
risk cost of like who owns the data, where is the data, who's the custodian of this.
Let me provoke you on a little bit.
Please.
When you go to renew your driver's license,
Yeah.
look at the process. It's a photo. It's a public servant. A lot of things checked.
Paper, time, processes.
But that process is really, really secure.
Yeah.
We can trust that. And you talk to a bank and look what you guys do to open an account. There's
30 seconds? 5 seconds sometimes? I think that's one of their metrics, actually, is how quickly you can open a digital account.
How many clicks?
Fairly enough.
So why don't you trust this really huge database that everyone is in, and stop wasting money on security?
Exactly.
Go do what you do best.
Go do what you do best, which is like an acknowledgement. I often say this to them. They're like, but it's a balancing act between security and convenience. I'm like, leave the balancing acts to the circus and let the people do their work.
But that balance can be really changed through technology.
Agreed.
Convenience and security in the time of AI, together with those huge identity databases. Come on, you only will need to log in once on your phone in the next few years.
In my company, we call it one boarding. You board one time and then you're done.
Something personally for me, for example, I really don't get credit card numbers.
Yeah,
I
me neither.
should have my credit score or credit budget for me. It should be me, and not those four numbers. And every time it changes. Oh, it's bad for security, but I'm so connected today that I have all my digital wallets and I have a really huge control. I went to Europe last year. I went to Iceland and then France.
Wow.
When it was the first time that I went to Europe and I didn't bought any paper money. I went fully digital and It's so easy today.
Yeah.
Why is we still using old concepts like the credit card number on this digital age? It's slowing adoption of the new technologies.
And I couldn't agree more. And I think that this is like why to me is so fascinating. Like I feel like hopefully identity is going to become the new sexy thing. I've been hoping for it for 15 years. I'll just stay on it because I think it's the last mile. Like we talk about this world of lack of boundaries. And you talked about something that was really interesting, internationalization.
Yeah.
When I talk digital, I often say, even the boundaries of what we construct. We have a very amazing central bank in this country that has been very aggressive and making a lot of changes in regulation.
Try explaining PIX to non-American.
I have.
Blows their mind.
I have. I just did an interview with the Federal Reserve of the U.S. And funny thing, first question I ask is like, what is your biggest reason for fraud? It's like, check fraud.
So you can, what is check?
So you can imagine me explaining PIX, having a conversation about checks. But this speaks to the Brazilian leadership. We are freaking amazing. And why are we telling the world? Like, this is us telling the world right here that we're pretty amazing. And from Web Summit, a place where people come to us to hear and learn about the innovation. When you look at us there and you look at Ted and Doc, we were well ahead of our times in the 90s.
It's really a big... We went to great troubles to get here because, we had 1,000% inflation, so we had to calculate that on the fly. And now we were prepared to those revolutions like PIX. What I'm seeing is really curious. For example, PIX is being used in a lot of other countries.
In a lot of different ways as well. Like, have you noticed that one of my favorite ways of using PIX is like some people use it for fraud prevention instead of using OTP because it can cost only a cent, which is a bit of a problem.
If you go to Argentina, Uruguay, Angola, I've been in Angola in February, and you say, look, hey, I can pay with PIX here. They are using the Brazilian financial system because it's cheaper, because it's efficient, and because it's secure. What we are looking in SERPRO's internationalization is bringing that digital transformation to other countries that are looking for that. Because a lot of other countries, for example, in Europe or in Africa, are in different stages of evolution in digital transformation.
Completely. Even Europe, you can just which is why their entire PSD2 or their open gateway doesn't really work. Because when you look at across Europe and their open ID foundation as well, it's not even.
Can we go back to ID?
Yeah.
In Germany, every municipality issues an ID.
I know.
Huge challenge to go digital because
you gotta listen to us, the Germans.
How are we going to centralize and use that? Every municipality has to build infrastructure, has to build knowledge on this field, and then connect to each other. It's really, really expensive. All of Brazilian identifications on driver's license and the new digital government identification is centralized. It's cheap. It's easy to use.
So let's talk about that. When you talk IT and you talk centralized, this is a huge debate, right?
Yeah.
Like centralized, honeypot, do I give you control? Is this going to turn into Black Mirror? Am I walking into China? What is the government or Rafael's position in terms of how do you guys look at this in the next 8 years here? You have a wave of transformation.
I think Brazil has really struck a balance because it's centralized like China, but it's not controlled like other countries.
Okay.
The citizens in Brazil have really huge control of its identity. You can go to gov.br and exclude really easily some permissions. You can use it. It has really big transparency of how you can use it. I really think that centralized database is the way to go. The technology that you can use can be a lot of them. You can decentralize the database. You can use blockchain. You can use a lot of different technologies. But the point of use where the private sector comes in must be one, because you create confusion. How you sell a product? How many models do you have? I have 30.
Yeah.
What's the best one? No, all are the same.
Well, if you talk to the average bank, they have pre-fraud prevention models, fraud and onboarding models, post when it's a crime, and then really remediation, put them in jail. And when you look at how many services of identity are here and contacts, and all of this because we just didn't know who you were. That's absurd.
And
it's
now,
2025.
And now when you talk, how can I say, who are you? Okay, you have to consult in each and every state in Brazil.
Yeah.
That is
and then hope that their security infrastructure, their data resilience, their governance is correct. So when you look at internationalizing, how does SERPRO see themselves? Do you see yourself being able to provide this, how does the rest of Latin America become government, digital, friendly, efficient?
We are really looking at a new digital transformation aid for governments because
Okay, tell me
now
more.
now the citizen wants it. COVID told everyone
Told everyone convenience first.
convenience
Hello.
first
Yeah.
and mobile first.
Correct.
So
Correct. It was really great, actually, because a lot of the conversations with the banks finally became like, okay, can we just talk about the phone? Can we just like stop talking about these other mediums of transformation?
And then all the citizens of those countries, why the government is not doing that? It's what we are doing. The first app for our pre-done tax returns was on mobile. And everything is we do right now is
Mobile first.
Mobile first. And we are talking to countries, we are talking to partners, and how can we help you? Because we went through some speed humps.
Okay.
We went through some problems. Let me do with you something that will be faster, will be cheaper, and based on what we already do. For example, we now have a digital platform for identification for other countries. It's called GovID.
Okay.
If your government already have the biometrics database, we can
Okay.
issue those identities. If you don't have the biometrics or the data, we can create that for you.
Wow.
As soon as you have GovID implemented, now you have access to data wallet immediately.
And all the
Oh,
then
goodness.
bespoke services.
Yes.
Wow.
It's really a branching tree, what it's called, because
Yeah.
we start really, really cheap, we start really small, and then you create a boom of digital transformation on that side because the number of services available, it's so huge. As I've said, we start with government ID, you go directly to boarding and on the airplane with biometrics.
And what, so out of these 80 products, we spend a lot of our time talking about identity because I obviously was going to take the conversation that way. It's the fault of the host. But what else is SERPRO doing? Like, and how are you, before we go to where else, AI, how? Like where are you? You talked about a couple things that actually precede AI. We all know that language models have existed for forever, and that
Chatbots.
actually this is not news. It's just nice marketing and branding and some computational capacity. How is SERPRO? And we know that this is just changing the game completely. It's I think it's kind of cool for me. I look at it this way. I sit on a UNESCO council around AI, and one of the things that I tried to telling them is the role that digital identity has to play on this.
Yeah.
Because right now, we just changed the rules of the game completely. No longer, and we have systems that are based exactly on what you said, in paper, in pictures, in things without liveness, without context, aka the accuracy. I can be you. I'm sure we can change our faces on this video using AI right
And
now.
more than ever with low cost. You can
Exactly.
really buy a $10,000 computer in your home and do it. You do not need
So how do you compete with that? How do you even build an infrastructure to take all of this into consideration?
I think the hype cycle is going through AI.
Yeah.
I think two things are really important. The fear that AI is going to take over the world is really diminishing. Everyone is really understanding what AI can really do,
Yeah.
what LLMs can really do. And as I've told about IDs, it's usage. We're going to use AI where Brazil has now the public policy for AI.
Yeah.
We're going to spend more than 5 billion reais on that. But what we are seeing
At Finance of Tomorrow too.
what we're really seeing for AI is, again, it's usage. It was the example. You need to deliver value to 220 million citizens. We do not look with right now on the huge Brazilian LLM. It's going to come.
Yeah.
Government needs it,
Yeah.
but have to deliver the service first. We have to connect.
So you're kind of like innovating in small pockets. Is that kind of what I'm hearing?
Yes, because it's cheaper.
So you're just like testing different ways.
No,
like,
no. We have
Oh.
8 AIs already implemented on the government.
Okay, 8 AIs in the government. Shoot them. What are they?
First, we are looking to processes.
Okay.
A lot of
So
the
looking at everything that you do and how you can do better.
how the government does analyze processes. This has a direct impact on our citizens, on our companies, because, well, it's time wasted. It's someone looking at a paper. You just said it's paper. It's something. It's pictures. How we can improve that? A lot of government agencies already have access to those AIs, and they are really helping. Brazilian judiciary system. It's huge.
Yeah.
What is being done with AI, because if you see what those analysts are doing, reading those papers, reading huge processes of thousands of pages, AI is really changing the game on that. And obviously, cloud helps us because we can implement really, really fast. We can look into the infrastructure really fast. But it's the first step. It's that improvement in efficiency. It's going to come to gov.br. We have some really exciting news for the second part of the year.
Okay. Can we spoil anything? A little spoiler alert of exciting areas?
It's going to be really exciting to provide services to everyone. It's
All
going
right,
to be
so
easy.
in September, in our event of Finance of Tomorrow, I'm going to drag Rafael out because maybe September is a good date to share stories.
August is going to be a really exciting time.
Okay, all right. So we stay put, holding here until August, and then we find out. So beyond the excitement stuff that we can't know, what else can we expect from SERPRO? Like, you're doing this huge transformation. You expect the numbers to go from 140 million Brazilians to as far as the 220 as possible, as I'm assuming.
We are on the last step. Right now, it's only missing our underage that cannot have an account right now. But we're really reaching the point that we are really comfortable of. Because right now, we just surpassed, it was 2 weeks ago, the number of accounts with biometrics is now bigger than the number of accounts with only simple data.
Wow, that's amazing. What's that number?
That's 120 million Brazilians now have biometric validated accounts on gov.br.
That is amazing.
That's how Brazilians embrace digital. That's how we can do really great things, really great stuff, really fast because you can deliver. And new services is health, it's education,
and it's all this infrastructure that the central bank put. This is what I kept telling people.
No,
I'm
the
like,
infrastructure is from SERPRO.
Oh no, for sure. But you can connect to all the. The central bank went out there and said, I'm going to have open finance, open insurance, open everything. If your infrastructure is now open and ready to be connected,
yes,
these services have a place to make sense.
They have a sense of use and easy of useness. I think what was great of Pix, it was easier to explain and easy to sell. We believe that deeply. Gov.br has to be easy to explain and easy to sell. It has to be easy to use. We have really great challenge. For example, here in Brazil, we really deal with a challenge. It's a networking infrastructure.
Totally.
Because
so whenever you're on the phone with a Brazilian and they say the Wi-Fi is bad, it is bad. Sometimes.
We're talking about 5G all the time. On the G20, SERPRO is participating on G20 in South Africa. They're starting talks about 6G. And we're saying, look, good 3G is enough for what we do. We need to deliver the services. Okay, 5G is going to permit 3D with spatial audio. Is going to be amazing.
Can we just do the basics right?
Can we just do the basics right?
Yeah.
A country that did that was India. They delivered 3G to the countryside, and now they have a 100% digital connected country. Oh, it's really good connection. Gigabit? No, it's not. It's slow. It's 20 megabit, but it works. You can deliver.
And the beauty is that today, biometrics is not what it used to be. Like a lot of people still have this impression that it's like a clunky, ginormous SDK and it takes a lot of space. I'm like, today we're talking about APIs, we're talking about, a completely different, homomorphic architecture and cryptography. And it's no longer those days of like sending photos around. So the opportunity becomes huge.
Can I give you an example
on
that
please.
matter? One of our international customers, it does biometrics to look into the video games. What he's doing? He's looking into if your son, if my son, is playing with other kids in the same age. They're preventing stalkers.
This is one of my favorite topics.
They're preventing stalkers.
Which we have another podcast.
Okay.
It's called Terms of Abuse. But we'll talk about that because this is huge. Do you know that every 90 seconds, something that happens online digitally harms a physical child? Every 90 seconds. And I talk to parents all the time about this because they'll be like, I have my parenting controls on. I'm like, guess what? The pedophiles in Roblox set up their account like a kid account and do onboarding like a kid parent, and off they go.
And now
this is the reality. And this is the reality. And because we're so digital, we take photos of our kids, we post pictures, we post data. I feel like one of the rules that I expect from SERPRO or the government is to have this education. You hit the nail on the head. How do you make the protection of who you are and who you are online safe and secure?
The protection.
And where is the extension of your existence online, right? Like we exist online. Today we make more data than we make anything.
It's a mixture of use and education. Why is that?
Agreed.
Because when you say to someone, look, you're going to use your gov.br account, you have to educate that this is real, this is serious. You're giving your identification to someone. This is the company, this is the consent.
Correct.
When you do that, you start to create a critical sense. Because on the next time, someone is going to log in a really sketchy page, and they see the gov.br webpage,
Maybe this is what's happening.
No, it's not going to use it. Because we do that every time on the real world. You just don't walk around with your ID and someone can steal it.
But we do walk around with our ID because we walk around with our faces everywhere. So part of me, I'm like, your face is already everywhere. I think you need a tool to exercise that face is yours at this time.
That's why I talked about how Brazilians have a little bit more control of their identities than other countries. Because we can look into how it's been used really easily. A lot of countries do not have anything, so they do not provide. Or other countries just said, no, we can. It's our data. It's government data. We use as we see fit. We do not believe in that because, in the end, if do not provide trust, no one is going to use it.
Correct. So, crystal ball.
Okay.
You're here at Web Summit. You're quite an international. I love Brazilians that take Brazil to the world. So I always like having them on our podcast. And Rafael is one that hits like every event and tells the world that Brazil is doing amazing things in digital identity. So what's next for you, Rafael? You talked about G20. You talked about, is it next time you're going to sit in this hot seat, other than the announcements in August, are we going to have 90 products or are we going to be in like 5 more countries? Like what's the Web Summit crystal ball?
The crystal ball for this year is getting that digital transformation to the municipalities in Brazil. This is priority number 1 because the federal government is really well served. The services are great. We are delivering. Now it's time to go to closer.
To go local in every state.
Mm-hmm. That's number 1 priority. Internationally, we really want to expand because we see a lot of opportunities to work with different countries, especially in the days of today.
Yeah, totally.
That trust is being a little bit shaky.
Yeah, what a geopolitics time to be alive in, right?
As we
need another podcast.
As we started the podcast,
there's probably 5 executive orders already passed since we've spoken.
Yes, and that's really changing the game. And in Brazil, we really think that now it's time to evolve.
Okay.
We did the revolution. We went digital. Now it's time to evolve. It's AI, delivering value, great quality, and new and more services.
So for people out there that are curious about you and want to know and want to connect to SERPRO, like where they can find stuff. So
search for us at serpro.gov.br or store.serpro.gov.br. If you look into our product, you can buy digitally.
You have a store. This is amazing. We'll leave all those in the show notes. We'll also leave Rafael's contact on LinkedIn so you can follow him and follow the evangelizing that he's doing on the change that digital identity truly is. The right to exercise who you are digitally and physically from Brazil to the world. So, Rafael, thank you so much for joining us here at Finance of Tomorrow.
Thanks for having me.
We're so excited and proud of Finance of Tomorrow to have SERPRO as a partner and have you showcasing that Brazil has amazing technology to share and sell.
Just look at this fair. All the Brazilian companies do innovation. Please come talk to us. Our partnership team is here. Everyone who wants to really build, to really deliver, come talk to us.
Incredible. Thank you so much. Thank you, Rafael. Thank you, Web Summit. This was another episode of Finance of Tomorrow here all the way from Rio de Janeiro at Web Summit. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Bianca, your host, and we'll see you next time.